Good morning. Thank you for joining us again to see my beautiful face and that of the beauty and the beast. You know, the question is,
No.
who's prettier?
The beauty will be joining us in a few minutes.
But we are the beasts.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for joining us, Conversations with Dr. Johnson. So today, it's Thanksgiving week. And so for today and tomorrow, we're going to focus on how do we provide appropriate immune support, considering that we are in increasing COVID
Yes.
infections,
Yes.
and it's also the flu season.
Yes.
But we love family.
Yes.
How are we going to make this social we can social distance Thanksgiving. We haven't discovered that architecture yet. So Thanksgiving is like when you want to socially hug.
That's right.
So talk to us, Dr. Johnson. What are your thoughts this Thanksgiving with COVID, the flu, and everything?
Well, look, humans have been living with all sorts of viruses since the dawn of time. And why does the human race still exist? Why aren't we all dead from the viruses we've encountered? Because our immune system protects us.
Yes.
Okay? So having a lockdown doesn't really make sense. It makes sense to protect our most vulnerable,
Yes.
our nursing home population, but for the rest of us, it really doesn't make sense because we should be able to rely on our immune system to protect us.
Okay. But so we're challenged by the fact that there is really no approved, generally medically approved treatments for COVID. But in
Sure there
spite, well, in spite of that, we know that there are things that
Yes.
have been used historically
Yes.
to reinforce the immune system.
Yes.
Even though the FDA has not approved them
Right.
as COVID-19 interventions. So talk to us about, we're going to talk about some of those things now. But what's your view on that? Just from,
Okay.
you already introduced it from man has existed forever with viruses.
Yes, yes. Well, the two single most important things in terms of supplements you can take
Yes.
are vitamin D3 and zinc.
And zinc, where's the zinc? We have it somewhere, reacted zinc.
Yeah. So when your doctor does a vitamin D blood level, the range, the so-called normal range, is anywhere between 30 and 100. For optimum protection against viruses, we want to take whatever dose of vitamin D3 is necessary to keep us up at the very high end of the range.
Okay.
80 to 100 or even 90 to 100.
Yeah.
And for most people, that's going to require a minimum of 5,000 units of vitamin D3 per day.
Yes. Here we have 50,000 units.
Yes.
And this is called a therapeutic high potency intervention, aggressive nutritional support.
Yeah,
right?
that's mostly for somebody who has very low vitamin D3 levels to begin with.
Which is most Americans.
Most Americans. And we want to rapidly get their vitamin D3 levels up as quickly as we can so that they will have protection against these viruses. So most people are going to need to take 50,000 a day for somewhere between 3 to 5 or even 7 days. And then after that, back off to a dose of maybe 5 or 10,000 a day, whatever it takes to get your vitamin D3 level up to high
Is
normal.
it possible to overdose on vitamin D?
In theory, it's absolutely possible. In actual practice, we almost never see that. I've been practicing medicine for 40 years. I have never seen a single dose of vitamin D toxicity.
Okay, so I also included some basic nutrients here.
Yes.
Because we also recommend that as part of supporting the immune system, that you have a basic good diet.
Sure,
Since
absolutely.
diet, getting the right nutrients or getting all the required nutrients is difficult, we also recommend at least some core basic
Yes.
requirements for that.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's something you support.
Yeah,
right?
multivitamin, multiminerals, vitamin C, and omega-3s,
Yes,
fish oil.
we have it all here.
Yeah.
Then we started saying, because we know that the immune system, I don't know whether I call it the conductor of the immune system, most of the immune system is in the gut.
In the gut, absolutely.
And therefore, gut health is also a critical part of.
Yes.
So talk to us about gut health, because we have a couple of things here. We have the probiotics, and we have the SBI, which is really the L-glutamine for gut support.
Yes. So probiotics are friendly bacteria. It's estimated that we have 100 trillion cells in our body and another 100 trillion bacteria in our gut.
Yeah.
Okay? And as far as we know, if we didn't have those bacteria in our gut, we wouldn't survive.
Yeah.
The friendly bacteria do some very important things for us, including helping keep our immune system strong. The bad bacteria are always going to be there to a certain extent. It's not possible or even desirable to get rid of them completely. But they should exist in a balance with the friendly bacteria.
So, yes, go ahead. There is the question about people who are vulnerable, right? Or people who already, let's have two conversations. If you're already vulnerable, which means that you're already suffering from a chronic illness that's
Yes.
been diagnosed on your medication,
Yes.
what should you be taking on top of the preventative nutrients we've spoken about to provide that additional support?
Well, it depends on what chronic illness you're talking about.
Say diabetes, which is the most common one.
Yeah. With diabetes, healthy diet and exercise are two of the most important things. There is a prescription medication called metformin,
Yes.
which most diabetics and even pre-diabetics need. Some people actually take metformin preventively. And there's an ongoing research study right now that so far the preliminary indication is that people that take metformin, even if they're not diabetic or pre-diabetic, tend to live 5 to 10 years longer than people who don't. Because all of us, as we age, our blood sugar control becomes less and less ideal, and the metformin helps to regulate that.
So I use berberine
Yes.
as a substitute, and I hear berberine is as effective as metformin. What's your view on berberine and metformin?
Berberine is a fantastic supplement.
Yes.
I take it every day.
Yes.
It's very good for diabetes. It's very good for heart disease.
Yes.
Okay. I have not seen the evidence that has convinced me that berberine is as good as metformin.
Okay.
But taking both of them makes a lot of sense.
Oh, so you take both.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yes. Yes.
So what about people who feel like they've got COVID-19 or they have symptoms that are similar to COVID? So I'm looking now at specific interventions. So we have a couple of supplements here, Veracid. So what do they do? How do you, we know that when you get those symptoms, what is your recommendation on top of all these nutrients for them to do?
Okay. So most people that are taking optimum doses of vitamin D3
Yeah.
will never get COVID symptoms. But if they do, you're going to want to increase your daily intake of vitamin D3 by approximately tenfold
Wow.
for 3 days.
Yes.
And then your blood level will go higher than what we'd like to have
Yeah.
for the long haul. So then you don't take any vitamin D3 for 2 or 3 weeks.
And that's to get it to a protective.
Yes, that's to allow it to come back down to the level where we want to keep it long term.
Okay. What about extra vitamin C?
Sure, extra vitamin C, absolutely.
Okay.
Our gut limits how much vitamin C we can absorb. In
Yes.
general, we can only absorb about 50% of the vitamin C that we swallow.
Yes.
And most people, if they try to swallow more than 3,000 or 4,000 milligrams at one dose, it's going to give loose bowels. And once that kicks in, then you don't absorb hardly any of that vitamin C. So at the clinic here, we give intravenous vitamin C.
Yes.
We can give very high doses, 25,000 milligrams or
Yes.
more in some cases. That has a very powerful immune strengthening and antiviral benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And antioxidants.
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful. So what about sleep? Sleep is a critical contributor
Absolutely.
to an optimal immune system.
Absolutely.
And most people are stressed, therefore that affects sleep. And what are some additional recommendations would you make at this time to make people to get a good sleep?
Well,
Especially women, they're always plotting, so they cannot sleep.
maybe that's the women in your life, not in mine.
Oh, you mean all the women in your life are all asleep?
They're all
They're all asleep.
They're not plotting.
Oh, okay, they're not. How would you know, Doc? You've been examining their brains while they sleep?
I've been reading minds.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so go ahead. So how do you help with sleep?
One good friend of mine, I made a suggestion to her, and her response was, "You've read my mind."
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, there's a movie like that. If you could read women's minds, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend for sleep, additional nutrients for sleep?
Well, melatonin is the sleep hormone. If you're past the age of 30, odds are your melatonin levels are declining.
I'm taking 2 of this every night. Actually, some nights I don't take it, and I still sleep good. This is 6 milligrams, and
6
I
milligrams.
take 2, which would be, and it's a slow release formula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have trouble falling asleep, you need an immediate release melatonin.
Yeah.
If you have trouble staying asleep, then you need the time release.
Yes.
A lot of people have trouble falling asleep and trouble staying asleep, and they should take a combination of the immediate release and the
And the
sustained
slow
release.
yeah.
And I've heard a lot of patients say, I tried melatonin, it didn't work for me. 2 reasons that melatonin may not work for you. Number 1, you're taking over-the-counter grade rather than prescription grade. That makes a huge difference for most people. And the other thing is you may not be taking enough melatonin. Almost everybody has to do a certain amount of trial and error with various doses to see what dose works best for you.
Yeah.
If you have increased your dose to the point you've gotten to 40 milligrams, there's no point in increasing it beyond 40 because 40 is where you're going to get the maximum benefit.
Sometimes I'm worried that if I took 40, I wouldn't wake up. Am I going to eternal sleep?
We can only hope.
Eternal sleep. Then I'll be in heaven, and
right.
Dr. Johnson, then I'll be waiting for you.
That's
To
right.
make sure you show up and I take you to the other gate.
Yes, well, I don't plan on showing up for a while.
All right. It'll be a long wait. So, Dr. Johnson, we're going to be joined by the beauty, Una, our brand ambassador, and she's going to tell us what her preparation and plans for Thanksgiving are going to be.
Before we do that, I
Yes.
want to make a couple of important dietary comments here.
Yes.
So the first one is sugar suppresses our immune system. Studies have shown that our immune system is significantly suppressed for about 4 to 6 hours when we eat sugar, or when we eat starch and our body turns it into sugar. Okay?
So all this candy
having-
and all the chocolates.
Yeah, having said that, we know it's Thanksgiving week. We know we're all going to be cheating and having that pumpkin pie or apple pie or pecan pie. I know I am.
I will be, because you brought some for tomorrow.
Yes. So, a very recent study was done where they gave people large servings of sugar.
Yeah.
I think it was in the form of cake, if I
Yes.
remember correctly. And one group was instructed to eat the cake while they were thinking to themselves, oh, this is terrible, this is so bad for me, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yes.
And the other group was...
And that's the Karen's group, where they were enjoying it.
And the other group was instructed to be enjoying this and not thinking about it being bad for them, and just thinking that my body is going to metabolize this in a healthy fashion.
Thank
And
you.
those people who did that had much less immune suppression, and their blood sugar didn't spike as high.
So please,
So-
big warning from the doctor.
So
Enjoy it.
when don't cheat most of the time, but when you do, cheat joyfully.
Hey.
Just enjoy the heck out of
Love
it.
But liberals don't understand that.
Well, because they can't enjoy everything. Everything has to cause them.
Angst.
They have to be upset about something.
Yeah, they have to match.
What can
Don't go matching about sugar now. Enjoy it.
What can
when
I
you do?
What can I be outraged about
Yes,
today?
some outrage. You say you can eat sugar now. Let's ban sugar. When you have to have sugar, enjoy it, just like Karen. She drinks her sugar with pleasure. Right? So let's get Una to join us.
Okay.
Before that, you have a question.
Yes, Una, come on.
Question was, is it safe to self-diagnose supplements? prescription grade for supplements?
Are we talking about melatonin or
Yeah.
supplements in general?
Well, because you said that patients or, people can take more or less depending on how they feel. So someone asked a question about,
Yeah, the standard way of doing this is take 3 milligrams of melatonin an hour before you want to go to sleep.
But you need to do it through a medical program, a health program where it's supervised.
Ideally,
Yes.
and so what I'm telling you now is what I say to my patients.
Yes.
An hour later, if you're still awake, take another one. An hour after that, if you're still awake, take another one. Once
Or get married.
Whatever works for you.
Exactly, Doc. I just didn't want them to spend all night taking melatonin, right?
So let's say you ended up taking 6 of these 3 milligram melatonin. That's
Yeah.
18 milligrams.
Yeah.
So the next night you take 18 milligrams
To start.
all at once.
Yes.
And if you wake up groggy the next morning,
Yeah.
which implies that you've taken a little too much melatonin, then you cut back and the next night you only take 15 milligrams.
Okay. So that's how you find the
Yeah.
appropriate dose for
Yes.
at the personal level.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So Una, join us.
Hi guys.
Welcome,
Hello.
Una.
Thanks for having me.
Every time you join us, I feel like my handsomeness just escaped in the
I don't
presence.
mean to do that, but it's kind of like what happens when greatness walks in. It's just
Greatness walks into excellence.
it's so excellent.
Part
but
of her job is to make both of us look bad.
I'm sorry.
By
I do a
comparison.
really good job of what I am.
But Mike is ensuring that we look good, Dr.
The angles.
Johnson.
Make sure you guys get the angles good.
Yes, right? And please don't hate us for standing next to Una. We're just,
I walked
We're
in.
just-
It was my fault.
yeah, and we're just her colleagues, so don't hate Dr. Johnson and I. We are enjoying the presence of Una. So Una, it's Thanksgiving. We've been
Yes.
talking about immune system. Are you worried about hugging and kissing your friends and family during Thanksgiving?
I have a very few friends and family,
Yeah.
so and
Why
I know
you kill the others with your greatness?
it's a liberal thing, right? It's a thing for a liberal.
You just
I did what I have to do.
Yeah, you clean them up.
I
Yes.
I cleaned them out, so I have very few, and for the most part, I know where they've been.
Yes.
Except
You've been contact tracing your friends
I have.
and said like, give me a list. You're using
Totally.
their phones to
we
check
have a
on
group
them.
chat, absolutely,
Wow.
and I make sure they wear masks.
No, I want to check with Dr. Johnson. I mean, do you support strategies like this? She's been contact tracing her friends. Like, where have you been?
I want to be sure
You-
if I'm going to be around them.
So you ask them to put location services on their phone so you can see, okay.
I'm very possessive. I need all my friends' locations turned on.
Dr. Johnson
You're
doesn't
not
like
a-
possessive women.
Oh,
Not at all.
it's kind of what it is. It's a Scorpio thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dr. Johnson, this
Yeah,
is scary.
scorpions sting, don't they?
We do.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
kill you.
Yeah.
We could kill you.
They
So just-
try, they
We
try.
try. Oh, we usually succeed.
All right, so talk to us. So if your friends have been to places where the liberals were infected, what do you do with them?
I mean, for me, back to the beginning of the conversation, I think the crucial thing is just having your immune system be strong.
Yeah.
Because it sucks to say, but it's like we are out and about all the time. We really don't know.
Yes,
We
what
don't know
we're
who's
encountering.
had it. We don't
Yes.
know who's healthy, who's not.
And even
I
the
mean,
people eating in the restaurant, social distance from you could have COVID.
It's not even a social distance thing.
Yes.
You walk by them. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So it's like I honestly don't trust any of it.
Yeah.
So the most important thing, just take your vitamins. Like
All right.
take your vitamins. Make sure your immune system is healthy.
So are you gonna have vitamin D at your dinner table for Thanksgiving? Make sure, hey, you're coming to visit here, vitamin
As
D.
they're walking in, excuse me, open your mouth.
Take off your
drink
shoes
water.
and a
Don't
vitamin
come in
D.
if you don't like this, and don't ask what it is.
But
just know it's good for
liberals
you.
are gonna be worried about that.
They're just gonna have to get with the program or exit.
Oh, submit, yeah.
Or submit.
Oh, wow, oh, no,
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried. So, what are you serving for Thanksgiving?
What? Well, the basics.
All right.
I'm going to my mom's house. I'm not serving.
Oh,
but-
you're not serving. And what is your mom cooking?
The basics like turkey.
And is she on vitamin D too?
You know what? I hope so. I'm gonna check with her.
Please give her some vitamin D so she has it before you show up.
Yeah, because I don't have
So
time
that-
to go there and then I have to wait for it to
Exactly.
kick in. It's really concerning for me. So I'm gonna have to go tomorrow
Okay.
and make sure I give her extra doses
So
for
your
2 days.
friends on Instagram, how are you talking to them about all of this? Do you
They're
have-
watching us right now. Hi guys.
Hello. We have Una here in live. This is not a.
No.
This is not a hologram.
Not a
It's
mannequin.
not a hologram, it's
Yeah,
real.
it's real, Una.
It's real.
In the flesh.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Una in the flesh. And Una is in the presence of real amazing greatness here.
Yes. Yes.
Of
Greatness,
excellence.
all greatness and excellence here.
Isn't it
love
amazing?
it.
So thank you for joining
Thank you
us
for having
today.
me.
And thanks, Dr. Johnson.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
And tomorrow we're going to have another session with Dr. Johnson.
While we're eating pecan pie.
Yeah, exactly.
Joyfully.
We're going to do that upstairs, and you're going to join the celebration. And I want to apologize to all of you. Dr. Johnson and I don't wear masks because we have a strong immune system, right?
Because they
Same
take
thing?
vitamin D and vitamin C, they take their supplements. When you take that, a mask, still wear it. But I mean, they're so strong. They don't need to worry about anything.
Yes.
Take
And
those.
also, I don't wear my mask when I'm driving in my car alone.
I
I
don't
see that on the
understand
freeway and I'm
that.
like, really? The viruses must be on the freeway looking for you. Have fun, guys. Have a happy
Have fun.
Thanksgiving,
Happy
and thank you for
Thanksgiving.
joining us.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you. Love
guys.
us, like us, and watch us all the time.
Only
Thank
love
you.
us a lot.
And tell your friends.
Yes.
Yes.
And that Dr. Johnson is not married and is looking.
Oh, okay.
Single, ready to mingle.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.